The future of Star Wars is an interesting thing to ponder. Dave Filoni just got promoted to Chief Creative Officer, and Bob Iger continues to repeat himself by saying that Disney, specifically Marvel and Star Wars, will be focusing on quality over quantity in the future. I'm a fan of the Filoni promotion, and I'm glad to hear that Disney is going to slow down on the creation of so many shows in such a short period of time. But there is one thing that has been bothering me lately. Well, it's actually a person, and that person is Taika Waititi. He's supposed to be writing a Star Wars movie. However, he's had trouble coming up with the script for the last couple of years, and overall, we've been waiting quite a few years at this point for any kind of movie, and fans are getting desperate for one. It's been a little frustrating to wait for at least any sort of details on his movie or release window, but I take issue with a few other things. In a recent interview with Variety, Taika said his movie is going to piss people off. His work in Thor: Love and Thunder also began to turn me off to the idea of him creating a Star Wars film. It was a movie that had such a great story and one that appeared to be focused on going towards a more mature setting for the older fans. It was basically ruined thanks to forced humor because ultimately it was set up to be a children's story despite the intense/emotional plot and a scary villain. Taika is known for his wit, and I really don't think Star Wars needs a silly movie right now. We need some good content, some serious content. We especially need some good movies to get the franchise back on track. I don't think Star Wars needs a Taika Waititi movie right now, and I'll go into more detail in this video. Now let me start off by saying this. I don't have a personal vendetta against Taika Waititi. The guy is extremely creative and witty, and I will give him credit for some of his work that I enjoyed, specifically on The Mandalorian. He did a great job voicing IG-11, and he directed the Season 1 finale of The Mandalorian, which was awesome. So I was a fan at first, but there's just some things that Taika has said and done recently that have just rubbed me the wrong way and turns me off to the idea of him making a Star Wars movie. My main concern with his Star Wars movie is that we don't need a movie full of silly wit and humor. We actually need a movie or trilogy that is going to bring Star Wars back to the top. We need a focused vision for future content. I don't want more random shows that last a season or some fun standalone movie, at least not yet. I want a new story that we will talk about for years to come. I want new and memorable characters in this story as well. And I'm okay with that new story spreading out into maybe a new trilogy. I just want something serious, something good, and something that isn't filled with controversy and questionable writing. It was first announced back in 2020 that Taika was going to write a Star Wars movie, and at this point it's been over 3 years and he doesn't even have the script ready yet. He's admitted in the past that he's been hit with writer's block, and I would not be surprised if the movie was truly held off for a bit too because of a decision made by Lucasfilm, because there's been a lot of reported projects canceled and delayed over the past couple of years. But man, he hasn't come up with anything to bring to the table to show Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, or Carrie Beck at this point. Taika has recently confirmed that the movie is still on. He's currently writing it, but he won't say anything about the plot, characters, or release window. He did say his movie might make people mad and that he would definitely say it's a film of his. Here's the exact quote. "It will be," dramatic pause, "a Taika Waititi film. It's gonna piss people off." Nice, let's piss off an already angry fan base even more. This is not the mentality to have. For some reason, writers and directors want to clap back at the fans all the time. And I do understand why, though. I'm a human too. It sucks when you get, criticized and critiqued, and, there are some ignorant people out there. But it should be expected that not everyone will enjoy your content. I have the same expectations with this channel too. I have to be prepared to receive negative comments. It pisses me off, but I'm going to continue making content and doing what I love. The people at the top, like Kathleen Kennedy, need to stop making excuses and blaming fans, though. It's on them for all the mistakes that they have made in a lot of their projects. Choosing to go to war with fans is not a good idea. It's not going to end well. As a matter of fact, the conflict will never end then. Now here's a quote of his that I actually agree with. "I don't think that I'm any use in the Star Wars universe making a film where everyone's like, oh great, well that's the blueprints to the Millennium Falcon. Ah, that's Chewbacca's grandmother. That all stands alone. That's great. Though I would like to take something new and create some new characters and just expand the world. Otherwise, it feels like it's a very small story." Taika shares the same opinions of many fans and writers. It's time for Star Wars to create new stories and characters. I still think there's stories within time periods and characters that we already know about, but new stuff should be welcomed as well. Yeah, we don't need to meet Chewbacca's grandmother, but we also don't need random stories about rebel spies either. It's time for Lucasfilm to find the next big thing in Star Wars that can be told in multiple stories throughout different movies and even shows. I don't think we have to drift away from shows on Disney+. We just need some serious shows that have some life, that could go on for a few seasons like The Mandalorian. And I almost wonder if Taika should take his wit and humor and make a more laid-back / funny show rather than a movie. Now to Thor. I love the villain and the story for Thor: Love and Thunder. Christian Bale was phenomenal in that movie. The movie featured a star-studded cast with a really good plot. Gorr the God Butcher. He's avenging the death of his daughter by killing every god with the Necro Sword. Gorr was scary. He might be the scariest looking Marvel villain that we've seen on screen. The lighting and the special effects to make him look monstrous and creepy was awesome to see throughout the movie at different parts. Then you have Jane, who has cancer and gets to go on a journey to experience the powers of a hero one time before she dies. This is some heavy shit, very emotional and intense plot points, and in my opinion it all gets ruined by screaming goats and a flamboyant Zeus. And just like in all movies, near the end, during the final battle, it looks like all hope is lost when Gorr's monsters surround Thor and his kid army, but somehow these little kids can defeat the monsters. Yes, I'm being a big hater right now, but come on, this movie had serious potential to be much better than what it was. It could have been one of the best Marvel movies ever, in my opinion. But then they went the childish route because Taika needs to throw in his wit and humor. If that's what his movies are all about, then pick a different villain and plot. I really don't want to see a Star Wars version of Love and Thunder. Do I want that kind of villain and emotional and intense plot? Sure, but don't counter all that with childish stuff. No more Palpatine. Give me a brand new villain, a powerful, creepy looking villain. No screaming goats, but rather new moments in the Star Wars universe that will be quoted and talked about for years to come. I also question whether or not Taika maintains a reverence towards legendary franchises like Marvel and Star Wars after he admitted why he took the job to work on Thor to begin with. And here's why he accepted. You know what? I had no interest in doing one of those films. It wasn't on my plan for my career as an auteur, but I was poor and I just had a second child, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children. I understand he wants to take care of his family, and everyone would love to work in a movie or any job that can make them a ton of money. I respect his hustle, but I also think that a lot of people in Hollywood are working on these projects just because of the money. It'd be nice to see some more people work on Star Wars and Marvel and other movie projects that actually care about the content, and even with shows like the Halo show and The Witcher. Do you actually have knowledge in these franchises or in the lore, and do you have any passion for it, or are you just there for the dollar signs? You know, I really don't find joy in making a video like this where I'm being a hater, but I just have a bad feeling that a Taika Waititi movie would not work in Star Wars right now. Even though I am at odds with the fan base in some regards, I don't think it's a good idea to piss off the fans. That should not be your goal. Maybe a Star Wars version of Love and Thunder makes sense in the distant future, but right now, no. The next era of Star Wars has to be good, or this franchise may never return to its former glory, and hopefully we can get some people involved that truly care about Star Wars. Well, what are your thoughts on Taika Waititi? Do you think he should make a Star Wars movie? Leave a comment below. Thanks for checking out the video. Go check out the rest of the channel and consider subscribing if you're new here. You can also find my stuff on podcasting platforms. Just Google Analyze This Podcast. You'll find me anywhere, including Spotify. You can also find me on X and TikTok, X at AnalyzeThis_YT, and TikTok at AnalyzeThis54_YT. Thanks again, and take care.